Chris here again. CFab. You guys have been wanting to know and have been asking me a lot how I took my headlights on my 240 from this to this. Well, I'm about to show you. Alright. We walk back to the back of the car where I have all my random crap that I've kept from the parts car, which is going to be the drift car soon, but still have parts from it. Okay. Here's step one. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get on eBay or wherever you get your stuff from. I choose to get on eBay because a lot of this stuff is super cheap and the quality is actually decent on it. And you're going to want to get a pair of 7-inch semi-sealed headlights. You can get them in yellow, you can get them in white, you can get them in LED, black, whatever the heck. They got a billion different styles. You can go halos, whatever you want to do. You're going to take that light. You're going to have the glass facing up, and you're going to want to, first step is just make this smooth. You're going to take this and cut it off flush. So then you can take your 7-inch semi-sealed and set it down with the glass facing up and take Sharpie, old pencil, I don't care, whatever you got, trace around that base. Use these lines right here. These are a good indicator of the center of the lamp. You're going to want to use those as a template. Trace around that, get a nice outline, give yourself just a little bit of wiggle room. You don't want too much. I'll explain that later on. But you're going to go ahead and do that. Get this cut out. I chose to use I use a carbide bit on a air angle grinder. Cuts right through this like butter. You actually got to slow down because it'll cut right through it. So once you have that all cut out, you should be able to take your lens and fit it in there. I wish I had another one here to show you, but I don't. I stole the ones off my truck to do the front of this. So you're going to take that and you should be able to slide in and out real easy. Then you're going to want to flip this over. And the last thing you want to do to the light before you fit it in here for your test fit is I took the very top of the light and the very bottom of the light and I just ground it smooth a little bit. I used my little die grinder once again. I just kind of squared off the top and bottom of it. And after your hole is cut, that allows it to just slide right in and pop in and sit square. And just for your test fit, what I did is I took my tape measure and measured in here with lens in and made sure it was square. And then once it's sitting where it's sitting, pull it back out and you can paint your background whatever you want to do. I chose to do flat black. That's just because I wanted to keep it factory looking. But after that is all painted and dried, pop it back in. Again, square it up with the tape measure, make sure it's good. You really just have to kind of just judge your air gap on both sides, but just if you're going to have this square and this square, this is going to be sitting pretty good over here. But just kind of use your finger as a judge on your air gap. Because this is adjustable. So you can still aim your headlight once this is sitting in, but you want your headlight to sit in here square. So, after that is all done, I'm going to pop it back in once this is painted. And what I chose to do is, once this was sitting back, it's going to sit out about that tall, and there's going to be a nice little outline if you've done a good cut. When you're doing a cut, maybe just do a little bit, go up to your line, set it in there. If it's a little tight, just barely go. You don't want to have it too big of a hole because you're going to have to fill that later. And what I chose to fill this with was I used JB Weld because it's really thick and it bonds really well. So I went around the outside. I'll show you on my headlights in just a moment how I did it. But I smoothed it all out and it gave it a real good factory look. After that's done, you're going to let that sit on the side. And next step is these bad boys. What I did is, if you were to just pop this baby in here with your headlight in, I got pictures on my Instagram page. Go ahead and follow me at Yoda Roberts. That's my Instagram page. I have tons of pics of all my builds and everything that I've done. If you were to just set this in there, you'd have a huge 2-inch gap at the bottom. This is actually the top. But you'd have a huge 2-inch gap at the bottom. And it'd look super nicer and it would just look half-ass and nobody wants their car looking like that. So, my idea is to take this and tape off the outside, and I chose to use a cutting wheel. It sucked because you had a lot of melty crap on the outside you have to end up grinding down. I guess you could use a saber saw and run through here. I didn't have one. What I did worked well, it just required a little extra work. So I taped the outside, and then cut the entire border off, and then pop this piece out. What that does is that gives you a nice filler gap and lets it bring it back out to the bumper and out to the grill and out to your corner light and look OEM. After you do that, you're going to want to, I chose to keep continually just clean this with brake clean whenever I was working on it. You're not normally going to want to do that because it'll yellow your lens or fog it up, but I'm painting these, so I don't care. Hit this with a bunch of brake clean, and what you do is what I chose to do is this little chrome piece on the bottom actually comes out. It's just adhesed in, and when you hit it with the brake clean, it peels up because you can't really get all this crap that sits in here out without taking this chrome piece out. So I took that out, and once this border was cut, I went in with the file and filed all these edges nice and square. And then I took a palm sander and I just really squared everything up and made sure it was nice. And then before you put this back in, get it all painted up and do however you want to do. Again, I went flat black with this border because I didn't want it to pop out and I didn't want it to look aftermarket. I just wanted it to look factory. I took a pick and got in here and got all this old sealant out. And before you put these in, I learned this the hard way. Before you put your lens back in, you're going to want to take this piece off and this piece off. These are just trim pieces. They're just Phillips and a Phillips and a Phillips and a Phillips. Pop those off. I painted these gloss black to accommodate my my gloss black grill to kind of make it flow better. And take these off because when you do, it's going to make it a whole lot easier to get this lens back on there. Otherwise, you got to sneak it behind here. And if you have, I went with a black RTV all the way around. If you have that back there, it's going to get on all kinds of crap if you can't just set it down once and done. So do that, and you're going to have that set up. What I chose to do with the corner lights is I have tons of extra sets. I've been gathering them every time I go to the junkyard. I took the lens off with just a couple Phillips, and I blacked out the inside. I just kept the bulbs in. You can slide this little amber indicator out, and I blacked out the inside of it because this silver that's in there is actually starting to fade off and it's black underneath it. So I just finished the job and blacked out the inside. Also took this trim piece off. It's just another Phillips, matches those two trim pieces on top of the lens. Took those off, blacked that bad boy out, and I'll show you what I did with my lenses up front. So let's go to the front of the car. Okay, so you can see how the borders turned out. They turned out really well. I'm really happy with them, and it brings it out. See, if you would have just put this in without the border, it would have sat back and looked stupid. It would have looked just like a hack job. So I brought the border, cut the edge of it out, filed it down as best as I could, and it turned out really well. And what I did with the fog lights, I was going to go amber with them, but I couldn't find any amber tint local, and they don't sell amber lenses for these that I can find at least. Maybe if you do, put it in the comments below, but I couldn't find any aftermarket amber lenses. So I went with just a Nightshades black. At first I wasn't very happy about it, but it turned out pretty good. You can still see with my indicators on, you can still see the ambers. You can still see the ambers on my signals. But yeah, it turned out really well. I'm real happy with it. I'm gonna swing around back and show you. I don't know if you can see very well. Yeah, there you go. You can see where I ran the RTV around the outside. I'm sorry, RTV. JB weld around the outside, smoothed it out so it wasn't very evident. Then I hit the back with the flat black also. And here, these semi-sealed lenses generally have a H4 in them. I pulled the H4 out, and if you take a 9004, which is a factory bulb, let me go grab one real quick. I think I have one back here. Yes, I do. If you take that, there's generally a an orange O-ring that sits right. Get that adjusted. Sorry, I'm kind of doing this in random lighting right here. Okay, if you get that orange, there's an orange O-ring that sits right here from the factory when you get these bulbs. Take that out and just shoot at somebody. You don't need that anymore. You're going to take another O-ring. You can find them at any of your local parts stores. They got them in the help section, just random O-ring kits. Trying to get this to freaking adjust here. Come on. Alright. Sorry about this, guys. I'm going to be getting a better camera soon. I'm just using the old iPhone. See if I can get this to adjust. There we go. Alright, see that little base on the bottom? You're going to want to set an O-ring on that. And then you can just pop this down and use the little metal catch that holds the H4 in, and it'll sit this in there just perfectly. It works great. So you're gonna get that in there. This is your factory bulb. That way you don't have to hack the harness up, and it works great. So you can see how I have that sitting in there. It looks factory. Doesn't look like you just popped in some freaking eBay halo lights or some crap like that. And it really makes it look awesome. I think it really transformed the front of it, gave it a really aggressive look. I wanted to do this ever since, actually before I bought the car. And I looked on the internet. I only seen one guy do the DIYs, and it was on Stansworks, and he didn't really show how he did it. So I could just kind of put two and two together and kind of came up with my own way of doing it. And I thought I would do a video for you guys because I hadn't seen any other videos on how to do it. So that's really it, guys. I just wanted, like I said, I just wanted to make a video. A lot of people have been asking how I did it, and I want to see a lot more cars out like this. I mean, it sucks that America only got the plastic front lenses. Honestly, these headlights are probably going to go in my drift car, and I'm going to get some Euro glass specs and put them in the front of this, just because I went with the yellows, and the yellows aren't as bright as they were factory. So I got my daughter in this car. This is my daily. I don't want it to I want to be able to see it at night whenever I'm driving. So that's really it, guys. Just wanted to give you kind of a tutorial on how I did that. Like I said, people were asking about it, so I appreciate it. Like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Appreciate it. See ya. Peace.